Hello guys, so today's topic is exception. So today we will learn what is exception, how to handle the exception, what are some built-in exception and why exception handling is important for application. Right. Yeah. So what is the definition of exception? So an exception is an event or any unexpected situation that may occur during the execution of a program that disturb the normal flow of a program, that is exception. So some built-in exceptions classes are divide by zero exception, index out of range exception, null reference exception, thread aborted exception, stack overflow exception. So we will describe three of them. Yeah, divide by zero exception. So what is divide by zero exception? So once we are trying to divide integer value from zero, then we will get the divide by zero exception, and we will see in the console application as well. And what is the index out of range exception? So this will raise, suppose we have an array of length 5, so index will be 0 to 4, and if we will try to access the element from the index 5, then we will get the index out of range exception. And what is the null reference exception? So if we are trying to access the property of a null object, then we will get the null reference exception. So yeah, so exceptions can be generated by the CLR, common language runtime, by the .NET or third-party library, or by the application code. Or exception can be generated if we are trying to access a file which does not exist, then we may get a file not found exception, right? Yeah. So how we can handle the exception? So Microsoft has provided a very important feature, exception handling, for C# developer. Yeah, so are created by using the throw keyword, which is very important. And exception handling uses the three important keyword, which are try, catch, and finally. So what are these? Okay, yeah. So what is try? Try, inside try block we will write the code which may not succeed, and inside the catch block we will handle the failures. If there is some issue inside try block, then we can handle those error in the catch block. For example, if we are trying to access a file from a location which does not exist, then we can handle that exception inside the catch block, and we will write the exception to somewhere, like in the file, in the database, or in the Azure blob storage, wherever you want to further debug the application. Right. So if we are working with the transactions, then we are updating or inserting the record in the multiple table, and we are getting the exception, then we need to roll back the transaction, then we will catch the exception, and we will roll back the transaction in the catch block. And what is finally block? So finally block is basically used to clean up the resources. So code in finally block is executed regardless of if an exception is thrown or not. Yeah. So I will show you divide by zero exceptions with the example. So let me open Visual Studio. So I will create one small application to demonstrate why exception handling is important, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I have created one console application. So here I will define two variable, integer a equals to 10 and integer v equals to 0. Yeah, and I will see the result of this operation, a divided by b. And I will write one more statement here. Okay, console dot read line. So so what we are trying to do in this program, so our motive is to print the hello world on the console application, on the console window. So let me try to run this application. Oh, so it is saying attempted to divide by 0. So we are not able to see hello world on the console window. Yeah, so let me close this app as well. And so this is, so I ran this program from the Visual Studio. If I will go to this program executable file and will run from here. Oh, so what we are seeing, we are seeing unhandled exception, system to divide by 0 exception. Okay, so and it is not giving the output. So what we are expecting from here, so hello world should be returned to the console, but it is not writing. Fine. Yeah, so how we can handle this? So I will write the code inside this block try. So I am guessing that this code may generate the exception, so I will put this code inside the catch block and will write statement here. Okay, so what will happen, so it will, once it will try to divide this 10 with 0, it will catch the exception here and it will write the output to the console window, so it will not terminate the application flow. So let me run this application. Wow, so we can see that we have one exception here. So what we are still seeing our output, what was our motive. Yeah, so this is kind of exception handling. So once we got the exception, we can write this exception inside somewhere in the file, in the database, or in the Azure repository, in the Azure blob storage, to further debug what is the problem in the application, right? Yeah, so let's try to run this application from the executable file. Yeah, yeah, so we can see the exception here and we can see the output.